You see, I used to wake up every single day with the same exact goal that today I'll actually stick with my Quran memorization. But by the end of the day, I would have barely revised, let alone memorize anything new. That cycle literally went on for months until finally something changed. And alhamdulillah, Quran memorization now has become more of a normal thing in my life. It's not just a goal anymore, it's actually a habit. And this is what I think that's necessary if you want to make big progress in your memorization. So let me show you exactly what I did. You see, when I set this goal for hifz, I wanted to make it my goal to memorize at least half a page or a page every single day consistently, while also being in school and in work. When I tell you I tried everything, I mean, I literally tried everything from trying to wake up really early and memorizing then to trying to catch up on the weekends or having big late night memorization sessions. None of these really seemed to stick for me personally, and I just didn't really find them sustainable. I would find myself there would be some days where I'd memorize pretty good, and then other days I would really struggle with consistency, and then life would get in the way, whether it be, work, responsibilities, or random things would just pop up. And the turning point came when I realized I was presenting the same exact surahs week over week to my online sheikh. I mean, nothing new was memorized. I wasn't making any progress. It was at that point where I was thinking, man, maybe I don't have what it takes to memorize Quran, for real. But the thing is, I had motivation. I was just lacking a consistent system. And what hit me was that I was mostly following the all or nothing system, when in reality, I found that the easiest time, the best time to memorize Quran is kind of when it's frictionless, when you forget you're even doing it. And then over the time, months will go by and you're like, wow, I was so consistent over that time frame and I ended up memorizing this much. You see, the way I was thinking and the way a lot of people are thinking when they're starting out is that you're thinking in terms of a page goal. I want to memorize 1 page every day or half a page every day. But the truth is, when you're starting out, your goal should really just be to make it a habit. 7 days a week, you're showing up to memorize Quran, regardless of however much you actually memorize. And when I realized this, there was a period where I actually started using a habit tracker to track exactly how much I was memorizing and also how frequently I was memorizing. Was I actually showing up consistently? I wanted to see my trend line over the course of a week or a few weeks so I can actually realize, am I memorizing as much as I think I am, or am I just kind of thinking I deserve to memorize half a page or a page when I'm not even doing it consistently? And there's been tons of studies that show just by simply tracking the habit that's required for your goal makes it sometimes 50% more likely to actually reach that goal. And this was researched across so many other goals apart from hifz, from weight loss to getting better grades. This specific tactic is way more beneficial than people realize. That just by tracking your progress or even the time that you're dedicating to the goal day in, day out, you're much, much more likely to actually reach that goal. It was at this point where I started to build a rule for myself and in my habit tracker that I had to either memorize or revise for 45 minutes every single day. And slowly over time, I would see, okay, I'm hitting my habits. This time is obviously doable for me. So then I would up it to 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I would just keep doing that up until now where I'm at about 2 hours and 15 minutes every single day. And don't get too intimidated by the time. You might think, oh man, I can't do that much. That's totally fine. That's how I started as well. You just start with however much you can do. And over time, you increase it because you are becoming more capable of memorizing more. And this is literally the science behind building habits and creating that momentum so you can make this Quran journey way easier. And by the way, if you want your free Quran habit tracker, feel free to join our school community because it'll be releasing soon. So just doing this dramatically shifted my mindset and actually made me consistent from going all or nothing to actually just trying to do something every single day consistently. And on top of tracking my habits, I created a whole new daily routine and daily schedule that was catered around Quran memorization. And what I would do, I'd make a daily schedule that everyone has, right? The ones where you got to work, you got to go to school, all your responsibilities. But then at the end of it, I would just look and find 2 slots, one where I could revise and another where I could memorize something new, and I would input those into my routine. And when you plot all this stuff out the night before, it makes it much more likely that the next day, you're actually going to show up to your memorization because you factored it written in a schedule. So let me show you exactly how I do that. And see, this is what I personally do, where the night before, I just draft a schedule where I know exactly where I'll be and also the time I'll have that I can dedicate to revising or memorizing. So a lot of times it goes like this, where I just wake up and the first thing I try to do is knock out a little bit in revision, whether it be in my car on the way to work, wherever it is. Just try to knock out maybe 30 minutes of what I memorized the day before or something I memorized in the past. And then just by doing this, it's shaving a lot of the time away from how much time you're dedicating to this entire process. So then you'll do whatever's responsible for you. So in my case, I might go to class or work, whatever. And then again, I'm trying to factor in times like revision, even if it's just 15 minutes, maybe driving home or something like that, to just chip away at the amount of time that you're dedicating to this process. Since memorizing something new usually takes a little bit more focus, I tend to do that later in the day when I get home and actually have more uninterrupted time. And this is just by following this schedule, I guarantee you're going to be way more consistent. And this is literally the pathway to how to chase hifz while you have responsibilities, because we're not in a school when we were younger where you have a teacher putting you on a particular program or you abiding by a certain regimen that was given to you. It's basically all up to you. It's all up to yourself. So you have to do it for yourself. You have to schedule in for yourself. Otherwise, you won't make any progress at all. Now, you also might be a little bit intimidated when you see the amount of time you do have to dedicate to the journey, but it's actually much easier than you think, especially when you adopt the method of chipping away at your revision in your dead time. You see, when you're memorizing something new, it actually does kind of require you to focus for a cool hour. But the thing about revision is that it doesn't really require that. You can kind of do that while just in your day-to-day. There's been plenty of times where I'm like really busy a specific day, whether it's work, school, or just any kind of responsibilities, but I'll still have that desire like, man, I got to chip away at my revision. So while I'm driving, while I'm doing whatever, I'll just begin timing myself on my habit tracker and we'll start reciting the stuff I memorized in the past. And just by doing that makes the process way easier because you're chipping away at that revision time kind of just unconsciously almost because it's pretty doable in that particular scenario. And when you make that a routine, it starts building triggers. So every time that you go into your car, your brain will immediately think, okay, this is revision time. Or every time you're walking or doing whatever, you'll start revising Quran without even really thinking about it. And this is what I'm telling you, like this is actually how you make progress on this journey seem way easier than it might seem, from the outside looking in. Now you might be like, okay, I got the revision down. I think I can do it now. But the real thing that you might be struggling with is actually memorizing stuff that's new. Because I'm not going to lie to you, one of the worst feelings while you're on this journey is when your head hits that pillow at night and you realize, okay, maybe I revised, but I didn't memorize anything new. I didn't really progress my hifz at all. And when I was starting out, this happened to me a lot where I would just look back at the week and be like, wow, I only got a chance to memorize maybe a few pages when I thought I could have done way more. And even if you think you're consistent, just by skipping a few days a week of memorizing something new, you could be slowing down your completion of the Quran by months or even years. And one of the best ways around this is to do your new memorization as soon as possible, like right when you wake up. Because if there's anything I've learned this past year of being on this journey, it's that the likelihood of you memorizing as the day goes on just keeps going down. So you want to get it done as soon as possible. If you're watching this, you've probably felt that feeling, okay, today I'm for sure going to revise, today I'm going to memorize. And then before you know it, the end of the day hits and you're like, now I have no energy whatsoever to do it. And then you just go to sleep and there's been no progress. Now imagine days like this pile up where you had the intention to memorize, maybe it was even in your routine, but since you pushed it back later in your schedule, the likelihood of you skipping it just goes up way higher. So in my experience, if you want to consistently memorize something new, is make sure you get it done as soon as possible in the morning and dedicate the later portion of the day or maybe even the next day to revising or strengthening that portion. You see, the reason I'm emphasizing so much about consistency and like factoring things in your routine so you literally don't miss a day is because when I was starting out and I did all this kind of research, no matter where I looked, whether it was from Sheikh Dosari or just the casual hafiz that you might know in your neighborhood, everyone said the same exact thing, which was it's really all about consistency. And it was frustrating because I thought there was like a hack behind it. I thought there was a way where I could memorize a page of Quran in 10 minutes or do these kind of like techniques or something like that to memorize. When in reality, it really doesn't matter because you need to show up every single day, no matter how long it's taking to memorize. And the thing about these kinds of goals is that even just by missing a few days a week, you're dramatically reducing your progress. Because let's just say you're memorizing Quran at a rate of 4 pages per week. You would complete the Quran in 151 weeks. And now just by tightening your Quran schedule a little bit, you could probably get it so you're memorizing about 7 pages per week, which would mean you memorize the entire Quran in 86 weeks, which is literally 50% faster. And this is literally why everyone says to stay consistent on your hifz routine, because it's not anything really special. It's just small changes in your consistency, going from inconsistent to consistent, could dramatically reduce the total amount of time it takes to complete the Quran. See, I'm not trying to make Quran memorization literally just seem like a numbers game where there's no part of enjoying the process or no part of it like actually affecting you, but I'm just really showing the impact of like how being consistent can really change the whole process. Because also realize that at the end of the day, the quicker you're able to hit your Quran goals, you can also strengthen it much more. So realize that leaving things up to just like your emotions, your motivation in regards to memorizing Quran is probably going to breed a lot of inconsistency. And it's going to make the process way harder than it actually needs to be. And by the way, if you want personalized advice to your schedule and your situation and kind of advice on how to factor the Quran into your daily routine, feel free to join our community because as of right now, it's totally free. So inshallah, I'll see you inside. Assalamu alaikum.